All right, we are at week 3, and welcome to week 3 here in cold South Florida. Well, Central Florida, where I am. I don't know where y'all are. Today we're going to talk about the project because this is where it starts. A number of you did put in your papers last week about the projects you're going to start, which is great. Start getting those ideas now. We're probably not going to do any database design until next week. Today we're going to talk about where to find the stuff for the project, talk about what it says versus what I want, because what it says is something very different. And this is one of the traps I leave for people who don't attend the sessions or watch the videos or read anything I put out there, because they're going to do this ridiculous amount of work that is completely unnecessary, because the people who designed this project lived in a very strange world. I'm not really sure why they did what they did, but it's okay. It's all cool. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And there's the button to share screens and do that. And okay. So when you are looking for what's in the project, everyone see my screen? If you go to the modules, you will see in week 3, final options. This is the only place you're going to find it. You're not going to find it in week 13. You're not going to find it in week 14. It is here in week 3. Logically, you would want to find it in week 13 where you have to turn it in, but no, it's here. If you click this button, it takes you to this page and it says looking ahead. For the first lie is week 14. It's actually week 13 because I need to grade them before time's up. Oh, here it is.
Oh, the final exam.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. 14. So they did change it. Look at that. They changed it. How exciting for them. You may choose to take final exam week 14, which is totally fine. Take the exam in week 14, or choose the final project in week 13. They're both worth 180 points. You can only take one if you do both. Thank you for the extra effort. There's no bonus for doing both.
Do we get the highest of either
No,
score?
no. I mean, really, in all honesty.
Why?
So here's the thing: if you take the final exam the way you're supposed to take the final exam, there's no way you get less than a perfect score on the final exam.
Oh, really?
Because so the final exam is open book, is open notes, is the questions from the previous quizzes. They're all the same questions. Nothing's different. So I never really did understand why people would get 60 out of 180 on the final exam, because you have access to everything. You can literally take the question, Google it, and find the answer, and then put the answer in. That's just the way it is. I mean, they try in the first class. They were really hard about that. They didn't want anything, and I'm like, you can't stop someone from doing that, because unless you're going to have you in a room with cameras and guard dogs and Nazis, you're never going to stop people from cheating on these tests. So they just said, you know what, open book, there you go. That's why I kind of lean into the final exam and I do the class the way I do, because I mean, anyone with a pulse and a half an ounce of initiative can go through this class and pass it. But you're not going to learn anything. You're going to know some stuff. But here on the Wednesday nights when we talk and I go through the stuff and we kind of do this stuff, here's where the learning is happening. You could absolutely do this class without me involved. But I get paid, so I'm here, but because I want to teach you guys about databases and how they work and the fun that you can have with it. Anyway, off my soapbox. So click here for the instructions. Okay. I stopped putting the link in my announcements, because if you haven't noticed, I cut and paste every semester. It's the same announcement because nothing ever changes. And the link doesn't stay the same between classes. So, and it's more fun to see if people can find it themselves. Okay, so here's what you need to give me. This is true. Create an ERD model for a real world application. So, think of something that you feel should exist. I've been doing this for 6 or so years now, and I've had some students actually try to convert this into like an app or something to monetize, right? Like I told you, I think like one year I had, every year someone does something about food storage. Like how do I need an application that tracks my food storage. I think that's brilliant. I think everyone should have one. I think if anyone ever made a value one that actually worked, you have however members of the church exist to use that application because people are food storage crazy here. But the coolest one was 3 semesters ago. Someone not only made the database for their food storage, but they tied it into a recipe database so you could see what recipes you'd make with what you had in food storage.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, okay, yeah, like what can I make with what I got? And here's all the recipes you can make. And then would link to the recipe when you click. It was really kind of cool. The design they had for it was pretty. I don't know if they ever made it, but man, that would have been. I'd pay for that. I seriously pay for that. So this is where the untruth starts with a minimum of 12 tables. I like between 8 and 10. I find that to be good. And there's a reason why. When you hit that 8 to 10 mark, and we'll do this one of these days where I'll design something out and we'll go past 8 tables. 8 doesn't, you don't stop at 12. You're at like 27 before you know what happened. Because it's like rabbits, they just keep multiplying and multiplying. Because you start thinking like, okay, well, I need this, 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 and it just sort of grows out from there, right? So stick to 8 to 10. If you hit anywhere in that range, you're good. If you go up to 12, that's fine. If you're over 12, God loves you. Just dial it back a little bit. You know, we know you can design tables. So that's good. So in the ERD, the other thing that I need with this that's not here is I need the code to create said tables. Okay, and like I showed you last week, if you make the ERD in the workbench, you can just reverse or forward engineer it into the code. Okay, so I need those 2 things. I need an ERD for a database between 8 and 10 tables, and I need the code to make those tables. The next thing I need, create test cases for all CRUD operations against the 12 tables. Okay, so here's why I break it down into 2 things. I need, and I'm going to put them, I'm going to tell you in the order you need to do them. You need to make the ERD, you need to create the code. You need to create test cases for the database, meaning how is this database going to be used? What information do you want to give to the user of these databases in a form that they can understand? So look back to the food storage one. So they had the food storage and recipe database, right? So one of the test cases they used was when are things set to expire? Okay. They had one where what do I have not the recommended, like what am I short on? What am I low on? Right? What do I need to rotate this month? What recipes can I use powdered butter for? What recipes can I use potato slices for? You know, what recipes am I missing stuff for? So these were the test cases, right? So when you're designing your database, say like, okay, how are people going to use this? What questions they're going to ask, and I want to give them this data, right? And the reason why you need to do this prior to putting data in your tables is because the test cases are going to tell you what data you need to put in your tables. Because when you send me this final project, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the code to create the database and I'm going to run it in my system. And it's going to create the database. And then I'm going to take the code that you send me to put data into the database. I'm going to run that and hopefully it'll run error free. And then I'm going to run all your test cases against the database and it's got to return data. All right. So if you write the test cases first, then you know what data needs to be put into the tables. Okay. So an ERD, the code to create the database and the tables, the test cases and the code for the test cases for your database, insert statements to put data into the tables. Okay. I don't even know what they want that for. Don't even know that. So the next thing I want, so I got this, so the script files for that. Okay. Then I need you, so I got the ERD, the actual diagram, the code, the CRUD, the test cases, and the code for the test cases, the insert statements for the table. Then I need a PowerPoint presentation that explains the purpose of your database, or a brief video presentation on that. 2 to 5 minutes, not a lot of time. Just say, here's my database, here's how I made it, here's where this is. Here's the data, here's the data I put in, and here's the test cases and why I think they're important. The last thing I need, and I say this last because this is the least important of all of them, is I need you to mock up the user interface for me. This can be done any number of ways. If you have Visio, if you have any type of modeling software, you can do it there. If you have MS Paint, you can do it there. If you've got crayons and construction paper, you can do it there and scan it in. All I need is, here's the database, here's a form on that front of that front of that database, and here's how the fields connect over. Okay, I don't need fancy, I don't need crazy, I don't need you to, throw together a JavaScript script and create the page and throw it out on some public website and send me the link. If you want to do that, more power to you. I respect that. But all I need is something simple, because this is a database class, not a front-end class, right? And that's what you need from the project. It's 6 things: the ERD, the code for the database, the test cases and their code, the insert statements for the data for the table, the PowerPoint presentation or the video, and the mockup at the front end. And those are the 6 things you turn in. You zip them up into a zip file and you upload it to the lesson.
Could you put those 6 things in the chat?
Sure. I'll actually put it in the announcement when I make the announcement.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll put those 6 in the announcement. And then you guys will know, and the 12 people that read the announcement will know, and then everyone else will be wondering what's going on. And I know no one ever watches the video who's not here, because I make fun of them and no one ever complains about it. So it's cool. But I'll put them in the chat. And I'll put them in when I put the code, I'll say, here's the 6 things you need for the project to submit to me on week 13 or before. By end of week 13, I need these things turned into me, because it takes me about an hour per project to grade. Particularly if it's interesting, then I play with it for a while. I had one guy who was a chemical engineer last semester, and he made this database that was like tracking chemical formulas and this whole thing, and I had to like research to understand what he was talking about, because it was pretty brainy stuff. I learned more about chemistry that week than I really cared to, but it was interesting. Okay, so everyone good with what's required for the project? Yeah. Like I said, it's either or. Do the final exam, do the project, whatever you want to do. And here, I think I said it before, like, you can commit to the project. Like, you can tell me this week in your essay, say, I'm doing the project, here's what I'm gonna do. And then every week from now until week 13, until week 12, this, and then week 13 said, like, you know what? I got too much stuff going on. I'm just doing the final exam. That is totally fine. If you do that just to get out of writing the stupid essays, all right. No one's done that yet. But someone might one day, and what am I going to do? Because if you're spending 12 weeks writing me essays on what you're building and you're not actually building it, then you've got way more time on your hands and you should just be doing the project. So, and this is the if you care about, that's the rubric.
One question: are we supposed to have already figured out what we want to do for the project, like what the project will be? Okay.
Nope. Just start figuring it out. No, just kind of like, what I always say, to think of something like, here's my story. So when a number of years ago, I think it was like late 90s, I'm sitting at Chili's with a friend of mine, and we're waiting for the waitress to come back with our check. And I'm like, you know what we need here? We need some kind of device that we can just pay our bill here without the waitress ever coming back. And I'm like, and this is like, I think tablets were just starting to come out, and Wi-Fi was just starting to be a thing. I'm like, yeah, we really should. That's if whoever does that is gonna be a millionaire. And you know what? He is. And you know what else? It's not me because I didn't do what I thought. And I had that idea. And I'm like, and now you go into freaking Chili's and there's one of them, and you can play games on it. You can order your food. You can pay for it there. You barely have to see a waitress, right? But so yeah, so there, and the reason I tell that story is because there's something that you've thought of at some point in time going, if I had an app to do this, I would be happy. Think of that app and design that database for that app. Because all apps have databases because they got to keep track of stuff. You like collecting things, write an app for it. You like cooking, find, I had one person last year who was really into gardening and did a database to track their garden, when things be planted, when they couldn't be planted. There's something out there that it probably exists already, but she made it herself. That's cool. One person did classroom tracking software, like for when students and teachers and how to schedule them in a school and stuff, like, because she worked at a school and they didn't have that. So she made it. So, and if you do it and make money, great. I only take 5%, so that's fine. All right. Anyway, okay. So that's all for the project. So let's go for the code for tonight. So any questions on anything code-wise, T-SQL-wise from last week's lesson, people who were in this week's lesson? Any questions on what we did last week? Okay, so what we're going to do this week is going to build on what we talked about last week. Predominantly, we're going to live in the where clause right now, because the where clause is where you can have a lot of fun. And some of these things we talked last week. Some of the things we won't be talking. We'll be talking for the first time this week, but this is all about the comparison operators. So everyone has done the alligator in elementary school. The alligator always wants to eat the bigger number. And sometimes the alligator sticks their tongue out at the bigger number, right? Or is ignoring the bigger number. So, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and equal. These are the ones that we normally see. Those are our math functions, okay? This one here is not equal to, and this one also is not equal to. So the exclamation point equal sign is not equal to, and then the kissing gators is not equal to. Now, the tricky thing about these is not in MySQL, but in Microsoft SQL Server, and I think in Oracle, this is for numeric, and this is for text base. Okay, in MySQL, I think they work for both. And you can use both for text and numbers in Microsoft SQL Server, but sometimes the results are weird. So it's usually best to just use that for text and this for numbers. Okay. That's just a heads up on that one. Okay, so last week we started playing with this a little bit. So select title and length from film. So we're going to the film table, grabbing the title and length table, and we want to do it where the length is greater than 100. Use Sakilla first, because if not, it doesn't work. All right, and then we go here, and then it shows me everything where it's over 100. Okay. We also talked last week about how we can use the and or clause. So here, same thing. So show title, length, and rental rate from film, where length is greater than 100 and rental rate is less than 5. So again, when we have and, both criteria must be met. So it'll show me where rental rate is over 100 and rental rate is greater than 5. So when we run this, that's what we get. Why is that showing me rental rate that is less than, less than 5, sorry. Remember, it's less than 5 because the alligator's going that way, so less than 5. So all of these are over 100 and all of these are less than 5. If I change the and to an or, and I select the right part, then it runs. Now all of a sudden we've got way more. So we had 610 rows, and now we've got 1,000 rows turned, which essentially means everything. Okay. So this is just all reviewing from last week. Most of this is gonna be reviewed from last week. 'Cause like I said, we talk about things well in advance of when you actually have to do them. Here we have select title from film where title is like A. So what this is telling me is gonna look for the A as the first character in the name, and then who cares what follows it. Oops, I don't want to do that yet. Okay, so A, and then so when I run this, it's going to show me everything that starts with an A. Okay, if I move this to the back, nope, like that, and then run this, it will show me everything that ends in an A. Okay, if I do this, it will show me everything that's got an A in it somewhere. It's not the first character, it's not the last character, but somewhere in the middle, there's an A. There's an A, you know, there's an A, there's an A, there's an A, okay? So,
So are you saying that excludes the first and last character?
no, I still use it, see, because Ace Goldfinger only has the one A in it. There's an A in it anywhere. If there's an A in it, it counts.
Okay.
Now this one's kind of fun. Select title from film where title like A underscore E%. So the first letter has to be an A, the second letter can be anything. The third letter has to be an A, the fourth letter can be anything. The last letter has to be an E, and then anything can follow. Why you would use this? I don't know, but you can. So this will show me everything where the first letter's an A, the third letter's an A, and the fifth letter, 1, 2, 3, fifth letter's an E, and then anything else is anything goes. And of course there's results there because I've been silly if I didn't, there weren't results. But yeah. So with what's in the parentheses, what you're trying to search for, you can get super granular with what's in there. You know, to the point where like you can, and this is where a lot of people run into mistakes when they run their queries. They'll put a where clause in there that's unfulfillable, and they get no results and they can't figure out why. So if you're running a query against the table, and you know there's data in the table, and you put a where clause in there, and nothing's coming out with a where clause, check the criteria for your where clause. Because if I did this, I think this won't work. Put a Q. I'll guarantee I'll put a Q there. Ain't nothing gonna match that. And I do this, and I'm like, well, why doesn't that work? Well, there's something wrong with my where clause because I got a weird criteria built in there that's not going to work. Okay.
Okay. I have a question.
Hit me.
Okay. I think without the percent, it still works because I tried this yesterday and that works.
Like this?
Yes. Well, I don't know, but I tried something like the second this one
Like
I
here?
tried without
Like
without
that?
the percent sign and it worked yesterday. But I don't know why it's not working here, but I tried something like that.
Well, if you did, was it like A or was it equals to A?
Yeah, it was like A and without the percent sign and it worked. So I thought it would work and
I'm not sure that shouldn't work. So I'm not sure why it did. Because if you don't have the percent sign, it's just going to look for A. And the reason why the percent sign is there is telling you there can be other stuff after the A.
no, okay.
Okay. So I'm not sure why. I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm just saying I'm not sure. I double checked that because without the percent sign, it's not going to know. It's going to say, just show me all that the answer is A. This, where title like A is exactly like saying that. Because
Okay.
you're not having it, you're not having to look for anything. There's no wild cards in there. So this kind of has to be there. So double check that. When I give you this code tomorrow, just run this code against your database and see if that works without the percent there and see what it is. If it does, send me the query you're running because I want to take a look at it. Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay, cool. So now let's go back, see, boom, 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 percent time back there, so don't forget. Okay, so now non-equality operators. Select title from film where title not like the percent. So show me where everything doesn't start with THE in the beginning. Okay, apparently nothing starts with TH in the beginning. Where those letters in that sequence don't show up at all. Okay, so there's a few less. There's 975 that don't have TH in there somewhere. Oh, not like, yeah. Okay. And here, show me where length is not 100, doesn't equal. Same thing. Okay, so this won't equal 100, specifically 100. Okay. So each of these has their opposite. And you can do, in, like I said, in MySQL, you can do this. And you get the same result. Okay. Now with the where clause, you can give ranges. So where length between 50 and 100. Nope. Thank you. No, you don't belong there. You're going to cause an error. Okay, and notice 50 is there. So it's 50 and between 50 and 100 inclusive of 50 and 100. Okay, this works for dates. This doesn't work so well with alphabet stuff. Sometimes it'll confuse the engine. Stick with that for dates, numbers, money, anything numeric that has distinctive order. Subqueries. So here, this is a silly one. Let me make this something more reasonable and not silly like that one. Now, these are just simple queries, and then we'll talk about more when we get into joins and some other stuff. We'll be more complicated with this. This is just to get the idea down with you. So here we got select title from film where length equals. Okay. Well, this isn't going to work. And I broke it for that reason. I need this. Okay. Select title from film where length in, select length from film where title is like A. Okay, so this is my little subquery, and I run this, and I'll get a result from it. Get a lovely result. 46 returned rows, right? And if I run this, what's going to happen is this is going to run first. Anything in parentheses runs first. So it's going to create this little subset in memory of data, and then it's going to run this comparison operator in against length. So it's going to compare whatever length is in here to what's here and give me my results. So boom. Okay. Now, if I do it this way, this isn't going to work because the equal sign requires you to have a single result. Okay, you can't use like you can't use an equal sign here. What will happen if I do this? Will it give me an error? Yeah, it'll give me an error. Subquery returns more than one row. Okay, so here I am with a subquery that's running multiple rows. I have an equal statement here. It doesn't know what to compare it to, so it's going to throw that error. If I put this back the way it was before I messed with it, so I did what so after that. So here, select length from film where title is Academy Dinosaur. That gives me 86 minutes. So I want to know every film that's as long as Academy Dinosaur. That's 86 minutes, including Academy Dinosaur. Okay, so there's 5 of them. So the reason why we would do a subquery is because this makes the query dynamic. Okay. Because now I'm not putting in a specific value. I'm saying, show me what it's like from somewhere else and bring that here. Okay. When we start designing databases and start looking at test cases, there's a lot of cases where this becomes necessary. You know, like if you had a, let's say you did a database to match tutors with students, right? Let's say you did an app where tutors will put their information in and who they are and where they live, and you had students put their information in, and so you want to be able to match the tutor to the students based on where they lived. So you'd have a query that pulls information from the tutor table where they live and compare it to where the students live, right? Here, select title from film or length in, the same thing. So here's that. So here where the title is AA, we have 12 return results. So I want to know where the length is, like these 12 tables. So I do this and I run it. And I will only, if I had the length here, you'd see only those 5 lengths would show up in here. Okay. All right. And that's the end of the coding for today. Here endeth the lesson on coding. So the where clause is probably is as of week 3 the most powerful tool that you have. There are going to be stronger tools in the next couple weeks, but right now this is like, you know, like what would be this cool? We've just discovered electricity. Okay, now we need to figure out what to do with electricity, and that comes with joins and case studies and all this other stuff. So does anyone have questions on the where clause and how it works?
I'm wondering, is the equal sign the only equality comparison operator?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
Because in, not in, like, well, like is not a equality comparison. It just in is an equality, but it allows multiple values. So this technically is an equality operator because it has to equal it's here, but allows more than one value to be here. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Is that so? So I'm looking at the case study for this week's
Which one?
paper.
Okay.
It's talking about essentially you're just supposed to write in 3 to 5 paragraphs, explain the contrast and use of equality comparisons, inequality, range, and lookup operators, like the in operator. Is in a lookup operator?
It's a lookup operator, yeah. That's a lookup operator. So in would be that. The only equality one is equal. Yeah.
Ranges between.
Ranges between. Range also, and like could also fall somewhere between a lookup operator and that, because like lets you do ranges. And there's in and not in, and like and not like. So yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Your boss would like you to compare and contrast the use of equality comparisons, inequality comparisons, range comparisons, and lookup operators in them. One day I'm going to rewrite these and I'm going to make them better. But anyway, yeah. So that's it. Yeah, that's that. It's pretty. There's one. I think week 7 I changed it to, like, you know, who's your favorite Star Wars character and why. Hopefully I remember to do that again this year. That was fun last year. It confused everybody. Are you sure this is the essay for this week? Yeah. Yeah. Pretty sure. I wrote it. Yeah. I just a sidebar. My personality, I really enjoy making sure people pay attention to things. So when I used to teach high school, I gave 3 different tests to the same class over the course of a semester, and one of them was a 50-question multiple choice test where every answer was C. And there were 3 kinds of people who took it. The one who went, this can't be right, and second guessed them on everything. One people who just went and did the test and answered everything, and one people who, by like 20 questions in, like, it's everything C, and boom, 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 and just fill it out, see, without looking at the last questions. I gave one test that was 350 questions long, and it was on the Scantron sheets, and every 10 questions the pattern repeated. And then there was one test I gave that it was 15 essay questions, each requiring 5-paragraph essays. And in the instructions, the last sentence in the instruction was, "I'm just kidding. Put a smiley face on the back of this paper and please turn it in." And I had people like halfway through the second essay when the bell rang. I'm like, did y'all read the last instruction in the thing? So I enjoy stuff like that. It's fun.
I got one
And
of those in high school, just like that.
Yeah.
If you read all the way to the bottom of the instructions, it was put your name on the paper. Turn it in.
Yep. It is imperative to read instructions at all times. So anywho. So yeah, so for this one, yes, your equality comparisons are your equal, your non-equality would be not equal, and your greater than less thans and stuff like that. So yeah. So to answer your question. Sorry, I went a little tangent on that one.
Yeah, I was starting to write it before this our meeting started, and I was like, I'm making this way too complicated. I'm like describing everything that a where clause is. I'm like, I just need to compare the differences between the comparisons and the different operators.
I'll tell you the secret about these essays, if you're writing them these and not doing the final project, is just put code in there and show me what you're talking about. Just here's an equality comparison. Boom. Here's not an equality comparison. Boom. You know, nothing shows me you know what you're talking about more than code does.
Okay.
Davis, what you got, man?
Thanks, brother Bob. Hi, everyone. I have a question about the project.
Yep.
Well, I prefer to work in the project because I will be working and applying,
Sure.
all the skills we get during the weeks. But I have a question. If I send my project on week 13 and then I'm not sure, and I want to try the test on week 14. Will I receive the higher score? You would put me the higher score, or?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have yet to have someone not to score between 170 and 180 on the final project.
Okay.
So, I mean, you have to really try to fail this project. To fail this project. I mean, because here's the thing, like, if you're going to take the time to do the project, you're going to take the time to do it right. And if the way you do it right, and here's how the project works. The people who do the project talk to me a lot, ask me where things are going. They show me their stuff, they work through it, and they turn it all in. With my advice, it's really becomes a collaborative effort. And there are some times, with the permission of the students, on these Wednesday nights, I'll pull up their ERD and talk about it with the class and have everyone kind of think tank it, right? So if you're going to commit to the project, I can't guarantee anything, but it is very, very likely you will score better on the project than you will on the final exam.
Yeah. I feel the same. The same.
Yeah, but if you want to take the project,
we can ask question. Yeah, we can ask question. In the class. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, if you want to take both to see, I can do the better of the two. But I like I said, I'm confident if you're giving your all to the project, it's really hard to mess it up.
Got it. Great. Thanks.
Yep. I mean, it's not impossible. You can totally screw it up if you want to, but I would rather you didn't. Don't take that as a challenge. But I've even had people like turn things in completely wrong on week 13, and I've called them and said, hey, you need to fix this, and they fixed it. So, if you, this class, I mean, the best way with this class, the best way to do it is you know, stay in touch with me, pay attention to the Wednesday night meetings. And just like, as you're doing the project, just send me your stuff. And that's what the essays are for. Just tell me what's going on. And if you have a problem with it, like if there's a problem in your essay, I'll respond to you. Put your queries in the essay and I will fix them. You know, that's how it works, you know. I mean, I can't get this one to work right. What am I missing? Oh, you're missing a comma here and you've got the quote here and it's all wrong, you know. You know, bring it on Wednesday nights. When I say any questions on anything, can you share your screen? Show us what you're working on. This really, you know, the one thing I really try to enforce in this class is that the life of a database, the life of any developer is not in a silo. The best developers work in a community. And my son lives in Centerville, and he goes to this thing called the Catalyst Academy, where it's like, it's the coolest thing. If I had this, well, the technology didn't exist when I was in high school, but like every day he goes into a room that's a server room where he's got his own racks, he's got his own blades. He puts them in. He made the Cat 5 wire, programmed them all in, and right now he's programming the firewall. He's writing DDoS attacks to attack the other students in his class. Yeah, I know. Yes, Thomas, I saw that face. Yeah, they DDoS each other all the time. They hack each other all the time. It is a network security class, and it is pretty friggin' amazing. I am not gonna lie. I went and sat in the class with him one day, and I'm like, this is an amazing class. Anyway, the thing that works there is they talk to each other, they communicate with each other. The teacher is pretty cool too, because he's teaching them logical thought, and he's teaching them how to pick locks, which I'm not sure is ethically sound, but as far as problem solving is concerned, I think it's pretty awesome, right? But you know, with this class, the more you collaborate with other people, the more you talk about things, bring things up for conversation, the more we all learn, right? And the more you trick me into do your work for you, because I'll start writing queries for you, because that's what I do. I don't be surprised if one day you ask me about a question on the exercise if I just give you the code, because it's also in the back of your book. So I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah. So yeah, David, I think having talked to you a couple times and seeing you the last couple ones, I think you'll be safe with the project. All right. Any other questions?
I have a question about the project, but I
Yep.
can wait till after the meeting's done.
You can ask it now. I mean, someone's gonna have to. What I found about questions is everyone, unless it's something like, you know, completely off the wall, but someone's gonna have the same question as you. So.
Oh, okay. It's just an idea for a final project.
Yeah, just you put it in your essay, or you can ping me other. We can wait till everyone's offline here, but you can just put it in your weekly essay and just what it is.
Okay, if I put it, it's kind of a crazy idea. So if I put it in there, will you yay or nay it? And if not, I can think of another idea. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
I'm probably, unless it's like something crazy, is totally cool. It just depends on how complicated. It's not crazy, it's how complicated it is.
Okay.
Like too complicated would be like, you know, you want to write a database that charts the position of every star in the universe and where it will be and where it has been for the last 30 years, and be able to search it and then take that data and put it into a AI program that shows the cosmos through an AI thing. That probably exists somewhere, but that was done by like 20,000 people in a think tank, and each wrote like 5 lines of code. They all drank a lot of Mountain Dew while it was going on. But for you, that would be a little excessive. But yeah, I like weird stuff. So if you do something like really weird, you know, that's cool. So yeah, just pop it in there and I'll give you the yay or nay. It'll mostly, and like I said, unless like I look at it and go, this is gonna be really complicated. It'll be a yay. So
yeah, and no worries too. Like if it needs to be like a simple app or something, I'm cool with that too. So
whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, that one dude who did the science stuff, the chemistry thing, I had no idea what he was talking about the entire time. I understood the table structure, but that's cool. Other than that, I didn't. He was like merging tables to do chemical symbols, chemical equations that yielded stuff. I'm like, The table structure is good. I don't get the data though. That's a cool, so sidebar, the cool thing about DD, I explain this to my DBA team all the time. We're like the architects for apartment buildings, and then we become the landlords for apartment buildings. Because I don't care what you do inside your database. I don't care what you put in there. Well, to a certain extent, it's got to be legal. But whatever data you want to put in there, however you want to put the furniture in / tables in there, organize your stuff, whatever. You know, we've got basic rules that we got to keep. But other than that, anything that happens within the doors of your house, then that's on you, man. It's not on me. Databases are the same way. You know, what's in the data is irrelevant to the DBA. It's how the structure is. I'm not sure why I got on that tangent, but yeah, go crazy. I love it. Anything else? All right, looks like we're running out of time tonight. Have a great week. I will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.